All right, welcome back to another episode of Nemo Radio and video in this case. For those of you watching, I am really, really excited about this guest and this opportunity because he's not only a really successful entrepreneur who started, his first business as a teenager and he's grown it and had all this massive success, but he's also cracked the code on a channel and a topic that I'm very, very interested in selfishly. So I'm glad you're here. Aleric Heck is here. He is a YouTube ads expert, the founder of Ad Outreach. And the core focus that you have, Aleric, is closing high-ticket sales and selling online courses with YouTube ads. So before we dive into the topic, and obviously I want to welcome you to the show, I would love for you to share with our audience kind of your backstory, your hero's journey, how this all began, because you didn't just descend from on high and become a guru, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
So take us through the story, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like, that's a great question. I love that because I've actually been on YouTube for over 11 years. So like you said, I started, and I was just a young teenager too. I started on YouTube, built a channel, AppFind, and it was reviewing mobile apps, tech tutorials. Like when the iPhone first came out, that's when I was making videos about it. It was new, it was exciting. And we actually became the largest app review channel on YouTube with over 400,000 subscribers, crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
So we really, I really built that.
How old, sorry to interrupt, how old were you when you started this?
So I was actually 12 when I started that YouTube channel. Yeah.
I'm so impressed with you. Like at 12, I was such a knucklehead. At 21, I was a knucklehead. Like so impressive. Kudos to you, but carry on. Take us through the journey.
Thank you. Yeah. So I started that, basically 11 years ago. And I basically created this channel and it started to get traction. A lot of people were watching it. And I still have it, by the way. I do kind of the Tim Ferriss, 4-hour work week model. So I have a team that kind of manages it, produces content. Actually, it's kind of funny. I have my audio. I've got the microphone I'm using for this. I'll just record every couple of weeks. I'll record a little audio and they'll add it to the video and kind of the app and put the footage in. But anyway, so, back about 5-6 years ago, it was really, really taken off. This was when apps were huge. I remember there was like a checklist where, when you're launching an app, like feature it on AppFind on my YouTube channel. And so I have been doing a little bit of YouTube ads to grow the channel, get some subscribers, things like that. I'd been experimenting, did a little bit of affiliate marketing with YouTube. I actually had good success with that too. But what really got me into overall YouTube ads and starting to do it for other, for clients and then eventually teaching. And now it's more of like a hands-on done together process that we have. Back then there was this one particular performance marketing company. They hired me to do a video for a social media networking app. We post it, gets thousands of users. They're like, this is great, but why are the users trailing off? And so, if you're not familiar, obviously you post something on YouTube, it's the same thing with any type of organic. You post it, it's a lot of views, a lot of listens, a lot of people watching it, but then it kind of trails off as with any organic. So they're like, can you post it again? What can we do to get it more traction? Share it on Twitter. But I'm like, hey, what if we run it as an ad to people who are similar to those that already watched it, right? But experimenting with a little bit of ads. This was like about 6 years ago. I'm like, what if we run this as like an ad? And they were skeptical at first, but I convinced them. We took a $500 budget. 1 week, we had 11,000 users.
Wow. Okay, that works. Yeah.
So I was just like, what? I was blown away. They were blown away. What I didn't know is they were getting paid $1 a user because they were a performance marketing company. They were so happy. So they had me do another project actually for a bigger company. I was actually managing over like $1,000 a day in ad spend as like the second ad I'd run for a client, which was crazy. And I remember like after that, they called me up and let me mute that. I apologize for that. But I remember they called me up, you have like 10 different Slack channels and then you mute the main one and somebody else pops on another one. I apologize for that.
No, you're fine. I didn't even hear it. So
yeah,
you're good.
Okay.
Buddy.
Okay, great. So it's all, my microphone covered it up. I didn't have to say anything.
There you go.
But anyways, so just looping back on that, I basically, they call me up and they say, hey, this was really, really, this was really, really good. We want you to, at the time I was in college, like drop out of college, fly out here to Silicon Valley, you know, we want you to head the YouTube ads team, and we'll give you like a 6-figure salary, possible equity. I'm like, I turned it down. You know, I was like, I want to be the king of my own castle, even if it needs a smaller castle to start, you know, obviously build it up, as opposed to a knight in a bigger castle. I want to be the king of my own castle. And so that's, I think probably a lot of people watching can resonate with that. And all this did is it gave me the fuel. I was like, I've struck something. So, you know, I didn't immediately scale it up either, because I had to read, you know, 4-hour work week. I had to figure out how to turn my YouTube channel into like an automated business. And then what I was able to do is build up. First, it was app outreach. So we did YouTube ads for mobile apps. I leveraged my network in the mobile app community. I was very well known. And so we did millions of downloads. And then I was running ads to get app clients, right? So I was actually doing a webinar funnel, because I found kind of the consulting world that a lot of us are a part of, right? So I was doing a webinar funnel. I was doing this online marketing stuff. And I remember somebody's like, hey, can you do that for me? I'm like, I can. And then I just fell in love with, you know, what I call my kind of people, like other people like yourself, you know, who are coaches, consultants, course creators, you know, high ticket in this world of like online business that really want to help people reach more people. A lot of people right now are struggling with Facebook ads. You know, the costs are going up. It's not what it used to be. People are getting banned. That's the worst, right? You know, if costs are going up is bad. Costs are going up and then you're banned, you know, and all this other stuff. And so just being able to help people with YouTube ads and not only be a catalyst to diversify and not pull all your eggs in one basket, we're actually getting better results on YouTube than people were getting before on Facebook. And that basically brings me where I am today. Now it's a done with you, like hands-on process. So we have trainings, but we're also helping people each step of the way. We found that's the best way to do it, because, you know, courses, they're kind of, you know, nobody's hands-on, nobody's helping you. So there's no way to ask questions. On the other side, agencies, like you're not actually learning it, right? So you can't implement it. Like you're kind of, you know, chained to them. Usually it's not the owner. It's like some intern running your ads. So what we do is we help business owners actually leverage YouTube ads, and it's exciting.
So first off, can you get my, now I have notifications coming up, sorry, but
No
can
worries.
you get my 10-year-old to stop getting Mike Bloomberg political ads?
Oh my God.
Like there are a lot of companies that need your help.
Oh man.
So that's the funniest part. But okay,
Yep.
before I get into all my YouTube questions, because I definitely think we've piqued the curiosity and the interest of my audience and myself.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Like, where did you get all this energy? How did you, become an entrepreneur? What's a little bit more of your personal story?
Oh, that's a great question. So I grew up like a lot of people, right? Like kind of middle class to upper middle class, kind of that kind of area. And so I think that was a good breeding grounds for me, because it wasn't like things were handed to me, but it also wasn't, thankfully that I had to struggle for certain things. And so, what I was able to do is I had the freedom to try and figure out how to make my own, life, make my own business. And so from a very early age, my parents actually, they didn't allow me for a very long time. Actually, one of the reasons I started doing app reviews and stuff is because they found out, but I wasn't allowed to do video games. So I wasn't allowed to play video games when I was younger. I think I had one tycoon game that was like educational that they let me, which was fun. But other than that, I wasn't allowed to play like any console, Game Boy, nothing like that. And so they spurred me to be creative. So I was always filming videos with my friends. I was doing different things. And essentially, I learned at a very early age. And actually even before that, I was always, entrepreneurial. So I had a lemonade stand that I would do. And we were like down the street from a swim and tennis club. And so I'd set up the lemonade stand. I'd be like, you could get lemonade for 75 cents and the cookie for 50 cents or both for $1, So I was doing kind of that, that thing. And this is when I was like 7, 8, 9, and sometimes you look back, and I don't want to tout myself too much because, but like you look back, you're like, how did younger me think of that? Like I found out that, when it wasn't the summer, when it was the fall and less people were going to the swim and tennis club, right? When it wasn't the summer, we'd have less people walking down our street. And so what I would do is like, what happens in the fall? So I started with just a friend's, yard sale. So I went up to them. I said, hey, can I sell my lemonade here and get people to stay longer? And I'll be able to sell my lemonade. And so I was doing that. And, I did the circuit around with different yard sales. And
where geographically did you grow up then? Whereabouts?
So in the suburbs of Boston. So I'm here.
All right. You don't have any kind of Boston accent.
No,
Say quarter. Say quarter.
Quarter.
Say water.
Water.
No, that's not Boston. You're
Oh,
lying.
I know. I'm an infiltrator. But yeah, in this,
you gotta say it like this. You gotta say water. Okay, sorry, but that's so cool.
No,
All
I
right,
know.
so I love Boston. Great place.
Yeah.
I love the entrepreneurial, the hustle,
Yeah.
the DNA, and I just was curious what makes you tick, because I think you're one of those people that grew up, and this is a lesson. I'm older, obviously. I'm 45. I'm about to keel over. It was a good run, but when I grew up, when I was your age, and for a lot of the audience that I'm with, a lot of coaches, consultants, solopreneurs, 30, 40, 50, 60-year-olds, we're still struggling, or they, I should say, because I get it. Like, we live at the best time in human history to be an entrepreneur, to monetize whatever your passion is.
Yeah.
And you've really illustrated that journey as someone that grew up in this kind of Wild West digital age where, like, this is a passion of mine about apps. I'm going to film it, turn it into a channel, get, 500,000 subscribers. Wait, I can monetize this. Like, that's what's so exciting to me. And that's why I love having guests like you on to inspire people. So thank you for sharing that. Now I want to get into the YouTube, because I want to start at the basics as a total novice. I don't know anything about YouTube other than my kids constantly are watching streamers, and video games. And I'm like, I played Nintendo. I don't need to watch it, man. But anyway, how do you even get people to watch ads? Because they have the skip button. There's 10 seconds. Like, it's kind of, here's where I struggle with it. So talk me through this objection. But I grew up in that era of interruption advertising. I didn't ask for this. You're putting a commercial on in the middle of the football game. You're cold calling me. You're telemarketing to me. And to a large degree, I know there's contextual advertising and retargeting, but how do you still get over that objection? Because an ad is an ad is an ad. And oh, great. Even if this, because you probably have 2 seconds to catch attention. So how do you address that issue or that concern when people come to you and say, I want to advertise, but how do we even get people to pay attention?
That's a great question, because this is something that I have discovered, especially with our method that makes it unique, is we have a formula for YouTube ads. We also, part of our process too, is we have an in-house copywriter that helps the entrepreneurs, craft their script, things like that. But what I found is, when you have a hook, you really have to capture people's attention and be natural. So this is actually something that I learned from my app ads. Now, they weren't technically reviews because they were sponsored endorsements. We can't call them reviews. Back when it was app days, right? They're kind of like, they're sponsored videos, or they're more featured. They're spotlights is what I would call them. But we would do a review style video, felt natural, and it would get so many more downloads because people trusted it. Now, obviously, we do disclose that it's a sponsored video, all that stuff. But that natural style, I translated over to our space. Business, coaches, consultants, right? So if you overly produced, I've seen lots of people do this with the green screen and stuff like that. Not only can it be corny if you get it wrong, but even if you get it right, people are, they become accustomed to tuning out ads.
That's too slick. It looks like a car commercial. Boring. As opposed to if I showed up with a movie theater popcorn bucket on my head and a lightsaber and said, I'm going to teach you how to work from home. That's part of my story, and part of my branding is like, I wanted to stay home and play with my kids. So I taught people how to use LinkedIn to get clients, and, so that's what you're talking about, is more authentic, just the real you, not high production. Okay. Interesting. Keep going.
Exactly. And so we've had clients like one Bo, he walked down the beach in kind of in California, just recorded on his iPhone and a gimbal. He's an incredible guy. He teaches people how to sell on Amazon. And he was just walking down the beach, recording a natural video, talking about how everybody else is talking about how to do private label. That's not the way to make money. Wholesaling, and you could sell everyday products. You're going to sell them, less risk. And it just resonates with people. He did 2 takes of that video. And, he thought we were going to have to produce a much more produced one. He's like, this is just the draft. Well over $1 million, $2 million on that one video before we even changed it and did more, with the other one. So it was just, in course sales. So it's literally one of those things where you can create, a natural video that just, it feels good. It resonates. It connects with people. Or if you are going to do something a little bit more, like you said, like a funny video, we've got one of our clients, incredible person, actually just got off a call with him, Ahmad, and he does boutique growth. He's got an incredible program. He helps people who are consultants. He created an ad that we helped him create, where he's got a trench coat. He's got he's like, consulting. Anybody want, who wants consulting? I don't know if you've seen it, but we've been running it everywhere. He's like, it's basically talking about how this is what you're doing. And his mechanism, he helps people with a lot of actually LinkedIn stuff and how to get their consulting clients, things like that. But it's making fun of this. Basically, it really captures people's attention because it's not some overly produced commercial. It's literally him out there joking around a little bit. And you could also do the same thing if you're in front of a camera. Like, for me, it's me just like basically with the TV screen and myself and saying, hey, how would you like to hijack, traffic on YouTube and send it directly into your funnel? We'll show you how to do that. And the other benefit of YouTube too, that some of you probably know this, but some of your listeners may not, is you only pay if somebody watches 30 seconds of your ad.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, you did? Okay, actually, yeah. So
let's go through some of the logistics, because again, I know for me and a lot of our audience are going to be complete novices. So let me start here. What are the most effective types of ad placement? Is it the pre-roll video? Is it the sponsored videos on the side? Like, how long should an ad be? Like, take me through some of the basic kind of blocking and tackling of foundationally what works on YouTube.
That's a great question. So I found the in-stream videos, the videos that appear in front of another video on YouTube, those are going to work the best for direct conversions, because you actually have a call to action. You can optimize for conversions. You have a video, and the ability to skip, is in your favor, because if somebody skips the ad, you don't pay for it.
Oh, right? That's the difference. Okay. Yeah. I didn't realize that.
Within 30 seconds. So they skip the ad within 30 seconds. So you have a window. They can skip after 6 seconds. So the countdown goes, it says 5, 4, 3, 2, but it's really technically 6 seconds. You have 6 to 29 seconds. If they skip in that window, you want to push the wrong people away. You want to get them to skip because you don't pay for it. You only pay if somebody watches 30 seconds. Just think about that. On Facebook, you're paying for every single person. They have a little impression. They swipe away because they're walking down the street, or they're in the subway. They're wherever they are. Like, they're not really paying attention. On YouTube, you actually have people's attention. 30 seconds is what you're paying for. That's why you see all of these different ads all the time. You think sometimes you think people are paying a fortune, especially retargeting. You're only paying if they watch 30 seconds.
So let's park on that for a second.
Deal.
Let's park on that for people listening and watching. Like, 30 seconds is an enormous amount of attention. Oh my gosh. Like, you can tell someone and get a lot across in half a minute. And now you got me all excited, because I'm like, well, that's different. I'm only paying for people that are actually engaging that far. And if you structure, now I'm getting into the content marketing part of it, but if you structure it properly, you're going to be able to hook them in that first half a minute and keep them watching. Okay, so this is good stuff. Yeah, keep going.
And so this is the formula for a winning video ad. And it's basically, and this is what we perfected. We've done hundreds of these, right? So it has a hook. So you capture people's attention, but you repel the wrong person. So you want to push away the wrong person, pull in the right person. Then you want to educate. This is really important. This is what a lot of people leave out, because most people, they hook and then they say, okay, go sign up for my webinar. But there's no substance. You have this opportunity. You have this time. You've already paid for the view. There's no difference in 30 seconds all the way up to a few minutes, or infinite technically, right? So we found that the winning length, by the way, you asked this question before, is between 2 and 6 minutes long. Usually 3 to 4 is the sweet spot. And so essentially we have like a solid 2 to 4 minutes of education in the middle of the ad, depending on the market. Some markets need more, some less work better. And you actually provide some value. So for me, it's showing people inside of a YouTube ads dashboard and showing like, all right, here's how you can actually get your ads in front of other people. This is a preview of what we'll show you on the webinar. But for other people like Ahmad, he goes into, here are the big things you're getting wrong as a consultant. Boom, boom, boom. And then he actually talks about it a little bit, not just like really short. Like I kind of did it short in my example, but he actually, gives real value. The way I see it is, let's say you give a few golden nuggets on the ad, and then you promise a handful and you deliver a handful on your webinar, your training, or your PDF, whatever it is, they're going to absolutely want to buy the pot of gold, right? That you're selling, or, get a call for even more value, and then ultimately buy the pot of gold after that. So it's really that value, that value ladder that you create, especially as consultants, coaches, course creators, people selling high ticket. There's so much noise in the market, especially on Facebook, but just in general. If you provide value on your ad, you're much more likely to get people to show up. That's why webinar show up rates consistently with ourselves and our clients between 50 to 60% on every webinar still today in 2020.
And this is fascinating. This is a lot of what I teach my clients. I have a course called Content Marketing Machine, and we've hit on a lot of concepts. One is infotainment, deliver the information, but entertain while you do it to keep the hook, keep the attention. The other big thing is way too many people online will just claim authority. Very few will demonstrate it. And so the idea of an ad where, yes, you hook them in and capture attention, so they want to learn more, but then demonstrating some expertise. So I'm just thinking out loud, brainstorming for my business, teaching LinkedIn, Rich's LinkedIn training. Like I could say, here's one sentence that will instantly improve your LinkedIn profile. Here's a template, write this down. You can instantly do this on your headline. You're going to immediately have a client base. Like you can immediately deliver 2 or 3 quick wins. They go, yeah, this is pretty good. This makes sense. Add the credibility and authority. And here's why you'd want to listen to me. And then pivot over to, if you like that, there's even more. And if you like that, there's even more. And okay, so this is making a lot of sense. Now I'm going to start spending all my money with you. Okay, so you'll get one client out of this interview. Don't worry. I love this idea. Talk more about the model of this. I guess one other logistical question: if I want to sell an online course. Okay. Yeah. So the model that typically people use, right, is for high ticket courses and, let's say a $2,000 course and up, or, an application for coaching, those types of things. Everyone's using Facebook ads. They're not working. They're paying $30, $40, $50 to get an application completed or a video watch. So give me some comparisons for YouTube, ballpark for a coach, a consultant, a small business owner that says, I want to get people onto a webinar, like registered. What's typical, what's ballpark high to low for a YouTube ad to get someone actually to sign up for a webinar if you have a good ad?
Oh, absolutely. So it depends on the market, of course. I always say that because you can target people very specifically. One of the big things we do is YouTube's household income is per person as opposed to just, like it's basically based on what they know about your income. You could target people in the top 10, top 20%, and so lead quality does play a factor into it. But what we always shoot for is sub $10. And you're seeing now, like, yes, Facebook had that a few years ago, and some people are still there, but with scalability, most people on Facebook these days that I've heard are like $20. Some people are like 15, but it's like, $20. Some people are even higher than that. And that's part of the problem. The other thing too is with applications, every time I talk with people, they're like, now it's $250, now it's $300. Like I talk with some people that are like at $500, $600. I'm like, what?
You can't scale that. Like you can't, even a webinar. So I'll just window into my business for people watching and listening. I have a killer evergreen webinar that I've built over 6 years that sells a $2,000 LinkedIn course. Okay. It converts at 5% like clockwork. I just have to put people in. Okay. So I know out of every 100 that I put in, 5 will buy, almost all of whom take a $197 a month payment plan. So I look at it and go, I'm not going to get $2,000 for each sale, but over time, they all pay whatever. So you have to look at it with your ad spend and go, okay, if I spend $1,000 to get 100 people on, in theory, everything being the right traffic, I should make $10,000. Right. And that's where you get into these numbers that would work. Right. So here's the question I have though with YouTube. How do you target? So for me, if I said to you, okay, I want to target specifically business coaches and consultants, I know with LinkedIn, of course, you can find them exactly. That's why I'm all in on LinkedIn, job titles, everything. How do you find those people on YouTube?
That's a great question. That's a great question. And honestly, that's my bread and butter too. That's who I'm targeting, as well.
Okay, cool.
And so literally, and it's the same thing with Ahmad. That's who he's targeting. And I'll give a quick story on Ahmad in a second, because I think that's very relevant to what you're talking about. So what we have, and people, especially if you're listening, obviously you can't see it, but if you're watching like the video version of this, we have, back there, it's all the way in the back, so you might not be able to see it, 3D YouTube ads. Now this is our unique mechanism. This is what I figured out to crack the code for YouTube ads for high ticket, right? So there are other people out there talking about YouTube ads, but a lot of people haven't figured out how to do high ticket yet. That's what we figured out. Most people just target in 2 dimensions. Think about it. On Facebook, you're targeting based on affinities and demographics. So demographics is who somebody is, maybe, income, although Facebook's more on zip codes versus actual, it's a little worse than that. But, demographics, and then affinities, pages that they like, maybe they like, similar people, maybe they're into Sam Ovens or whatever, and you're targeting that. But the problem there is there's no intent. There's nothing about what they're doing right now. They could be, out on a walk. They could be, who knows?
Right.
They could be anywhere.
Yeah.
On the other side with YouTube, the mistake that people make besides the video, like I talked about earlier, where they just do the hook and then the call to action, obviously hook, educate, call to action. The mistake people make is they just do two different dimensions. They do the demographics, but then they only target intent, what somebody's watching, the specific video, the keywords, the placements. The problem there is you don't know exactly who that person is. Are they the coach or consultant or business person that you're looking to reach, right? This is where our concept, and this is what I've coined, 3D YouTube ads. This is where that comes into play, because you're not just layering with demographics and intent, the specific video somebody's watching. So somebody watching a video, let's say how to get more leads, or how to, grow on LinkedIn, how to get connections on LinkedIn, whatever it is. You now also layer into this a third dimension of affinities, which a lot of people don't know you could do on YouTube, but you can. And there's a few different ones. So you can build a custom affinity based on keywords that describe a person. And this is based on, like, you could actually put Sam Ovens as a keyword, but you could put some of these things in. You could also target people based on Google searches they've made in the past.
Oh my gosh, Big Brother coming into play. Yep. They know
exactly.
everything. My kids are asking me last night, they're like, Bailey, my 11-year-old, he goes, is the government listening? I'm like, of course they are. How you doing? They're like, I mean, think about this, how you start talking about cats and you get kitty litter ads. Like, of course, Google. And Google owns YouTube. Here we go.
And wait for the next one. This is the big one. And now, this is also something, too, for the listeners as well. This is one of our most sought-after training. This is an exclusive training for, we have a Facebook group, YouTube Ads for Entrepreneurs. We'll probably talk about some of that later. But we have a training. It's our industry secret, because it really is industry secret. Other people aren't talking about this. I've talked with some of the biggest advertisers, and the ones that know about it are keeping this close to their vest. I'm about to reveal this to you guys. You can actually target people based on URLs or similar URLs that they've gone to in the past. So let's say anything that has Google Analytics installed, Google knows, okay, this person has been to this type of website. Now, it's not always the exact URL that they've gone to, but let's say that you go to consulting.com owned by Sam Ovens, or you go to one of these other places, right? They know that you've gone to that site or a similar site. They can now target you. You can layer that on as an affinity. We're doing that for us. That's what we would do for you as well. So now you have people who have been to Sam Ovens' site before. You now have people that are watching a video on how to grow their business, and they're in the demographics. You put in like top 30% of income earners, et cetera, et cetera. You now have a triangle. You can target exactly who you want to reach.
So Mike Bloomberg's people need to hire you immediately, because my 11-year-old can't vote. But anyway, this is fascinating, because now I get it. Like, it's starting to crystallize for me. I'm getting excited. I'm going to give you a bunch of money. But I mean, but what you can do then in a sense is you can take, obviously, your website traffic, you can take your email list, you can take your Facebook fans, you can take your LinkedIn connections, because I know of ways you can export people and retarget all of them. But then you're saying, I could also say, now I want people that go to Tony Robbins' website or Gary Vaynerchuk or competitors of mine. They've gone to my competitor's URL to look at their LinkedIn training. Oh man, is that possible? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. Now, what I will say is the little asterisk on that is sometimes if the audience is too small, it will put similar sites in. But I have found that in practice, it is incredibly accurate. That it doesn't guarantee that it's people who have only been on this particular URL. But it is very similar. Like, they've been, like, if you put in Sam Ovens there, you can be sure that a large amount of the people that you're targeting did go to Sam Ovens. I've talked with one of the largest online mattress companies, their former head of digital marketing. And when I was speaking with him, we were talking about this. I'm like, hey, you guys, you use this? And he's like, yes, that's one of the biggest kept secrets that they're doing. They're talking millions of dollars in spend, and a lot of it on stuff like this, where they're targeting competitor mattress websites, right? Now, again, it's not always going to be that exact URL that's been put in that other mattress, but Google's really good at knowing it's the people that have been on this site. So that's a big part of it. And then people on similar, and it basically puts that all together. Now you're layering that with somebody watching a video about business, and they're in the income bracket that can afford a higher ticket or a course program. You have a triangle that you build, and your leads are now much higher quality.
This is so good, because you're not getting, even I was thinking, well, you could, take your YouTube channel and your subscribers, but you have people that are so unqualified, right? Just random people from all over the world. So I love the idea of checking as many boxes off as you can for your avatar to give your ad the best chance. And then, of course, you've got all the analytics and tracking to say, hey, I ran a webinar only for YouTube traffic. I made 5 sales. The ROI makes sense, or the application to high ticket. So take me through kind of, you said you target a lot of business coaches, consultants,
Yes.
small business owners to sell online courses to or high ticket to. What's the business model look like with a cold prospect? Take me through your steps that you use, the strategy to warm them up, get them on a webinar, get them buying. I'm curious just to kind of see how your strategy lines up.
For myself or for other people, or it's actually kind of it's the same thing that I do.
Yeah, either one.
Yeah. So I could give the example for myself, and then I'll also talk about how this applies to Ahmad, one of our clients, who's very like he basically does the consulting and he's got a great setup there. And so essentially, what we do is we are targeting people. It's actually kind of funny, who are looking up Facebook ads troubleshooting. They're looking up how to get my account back, Facebook ads optimization, because the thing is you have to find areas that are parallel, because the people already looking up YouTube, they might already have something in mind. Now we are targeting that, but the majority comes in from people looking up Facebook. Now we don't just do that though, because the problem there is you're now reaching anybody. There could be like a small person who's just starting out, they're freelance or whatever, which everybody needs to start somewhere, but they're not at the level or caliber that they're actually a full business owner. So what we're doing is we're adding income targeting. So this is a 3D approach. So demographics, income targeting, we're actually putting in top 30%. So we're making sure that the income lines up, because it's best for them too. Right? We don't want to have a lot of people that maybe won't benefit as much right now from our process. But we do that. Then we target the specific video. So let's say they're watching a video on how to troubleshoot their Facebook ads. And we also target people based on sites they've been on before. They've been on places like Sam Ovens, Traffic and Funnels, whatever. Like we know, okay, that's really good. Or, based on Google searches. So past Google searches, if they've searched YouTube ads at any point, or if they've searched for some of these other people at any point, right? If they've looked up these different things at a different point, now we're figuring out a really good view for this bullseye of who this person is. Right. And obviously we're also casting a wide net, so we're narrowing down. So, there might be some targeting that doesn't work and we just get rid of it, right? We trim the fat. And so that's what we're doing. So that's the cold traffic. So for us, we walk people, we hook them. So we're like, how would you like to ethically hijack your competitor's traffic on YouTube? We show you how to do that.
Then so it's a 3 to 4 minute ad.
Yep.
Hey, are you interested in this? Hook you in, teach you a couple of nuggets. If you want to learn more, what's the next step?
Exactly. Then they go to a webinar. Okay. And so, one of the things that we found works really well actually too, is because as I've been growing, as we've been building out our team, this is relatively new. We have the phone number on the webinar too. So we actually have specialists that will call all of our leads. Every lead now gets called in a positive way, right? In a way where we're actually getting them additional trainings. We're asking them if they had questions on we're basically providing an incredible amount of value. That's relatively new. But in the past, right, we send people to a webinar, and it still exists, right? Where they get the webinar, it's value driven. You know how on every webinar you have the star rating?
Oh yeah.
Over 4.5 stars, hundreds of reviews. Think about how often people rate webinars. Honestly, we all know that there's something at the the end, right? Or there's and for us, it's actually a call, right? The ability to talk with our team, one of my advisors. But it's one of those things where I want to provide a lot of value. Same with the ad provides value, the webinar provides value, and then the call with our team provides value too. We actually map out what YouTube ads look like, and people can look at that, and then we map out obviously what our process is. So we take people on as clients. If it's a good fit, we make sure it's a good fit, and kind of the classic application funnel approach. But the other thing that we do, and this is what I think your audience is going to find really, really interesting. So one thing, and this is not as much with YouTube ads, but this is kind of cutting edge. I don't know if you do this yet, calling everybody a day after the webinar and asking them how they liked the webinar and what value they got. And, hey, we've got some other trainings, or maybe you're ready to talk with a call. We can get you on their calendar. It's value first. It's not, and it's not also blowing them up. It's basically just one call. It's hey, how'd you like it? Kind of thing. It's so really, it's personal touch.
You don't have any trouble when you get opt-ins that they'll share phone numbers and things like that? Okay.
Because the YouTube builds the credibility.
Okay.
People are they're now bought into me by watching the ad. They're I really like this Aleric guy. I want to opt in, and I want to get value. And that's what we found, right? It is
Okay.
the ad really warms people up to us, and then they go in. And so the other thing that we do, though, and this is super powerful, is we have an aggressive retargeting approach. Now, here's the thing that blows people's minds. This is going to blow your minds, probably going to blow the listeners' minds. With YouTube retargeting ads, you know how we talked about regular ads, you only pay if somebody watches 30 seconds of the ad. What if I told you the same rules apply to retargeting ads?
Oh my gosh. That's crazy good.
It's the most ridiculous value you've ever heard of. Like, what retargeting platform lets you get free retargeting impressions? So what we do is we retarget people forever, essentially. So you get into our stuff.
Till they hit, yeah.
Every video, right? So instead of Bloomberg, it's going to be my face popping up.
Vote for Aleric.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I'll just keep popping up like again and again. And
that is a critical part of marketing is you have to stay like, God bless him, Gary Vaynerchuk, organically. I can't open because I love Gary V. So it's like, but I cannot open a platform without seeing him. Yeah. So the constant reminder of there he is, without being annoying, of course, but that would be so expensive, normally with ads. What do you retarget them with? Like a webinar replay, a different ad, a follow-up video? What is it typically?
So we retarget them to our application page and to our testimonials, case studies page.
Smart.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's what we do. So our application page too is very primed, where we have an 11-minute testimonial supercut, and it has I think it's almost 3 dozen now, between 2 and 3 dozen testimonials, and it's back to back. It's like boom, boom, boom. It's 11 minutes long. We also run that as a retargeting ad. And it's just like, if you watch that, there's no more doubt in your mind. You're like, okay, wow. Like, sometimes it's just getting people to see the things that that you want them to see. And you could do that with YouTube retargeting. So you're only paying if somebody watches 30 seconds. So you're basically, you could retarget people, but every time they skip the ad, they still see your face. So when you do this, they'll still see your face. They'll be like, oh, there's John.
There's Nemo. Yeah,
Nemo.
And they'll say that. I'll have people sign up a year or two later that will go, oh, yeah, I've been on your radar. You've been on my radar for years. The timing wasn't right. I just switched companies, blah, blah, blah. You popped up again. And I'm always trying to teach and train ways like on LinkedIn to how do we stay in front? So this is brilliant marketing in general, but with YouTube in particular. So one question I had was, with your model, and just selfishly, so with course creators, do you encourage them to try to sell direct from the webinar, or is it always the phone model where it's better to get, because do you know a guy named Joel Urway?
Oh yeah, I think I'm going to be on his podcast next week. We've been in the same circles.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had a call, so I'm excited to be on his.
He's a super good guy. I've had him. He's awesome. Been on my podcast and vice versa, but he teaches a model. He teaches a model now called the mini webinar, where you basically, the goal is to book to a call. So and then you sell one promise. So, hey, I'm going to show you how to generate leads with LinkedIn. That's the big promise. And then the goal is, instead of trying to sell a course, you have the done for you service, the done with you, and the online course, and you try to sell it on a call. Right. And so you hire a team. So I get that, and I'm experimenting with it, but I also really like the hands-off automation of, all I got to do is get 100 people on this automated webinar, 5 just buy, money shows up. Do you still encourage people, course creators with like $2,000 or higher courses? Will that work with cold traffic to YouTube ad, sign up for an automated webinar, and sell right from there?
1,000%. And I'll give a couple examples, because it's not just, coaches, consultants, people like that, like Ahmad, he hit his first, 100K month on the back of YouTube ads. We switched, he was he was doing Facebook. He was at 50, 60. We basically got him on YouTube. And when he switched over to 75% YouTube ads, right? And he had gotten banned on Facebook. So all he really wanted was just another fail.
And what are his product price ranges, just out of curiosity?
So his is like a higher ticket. So between 5 and 10K program that he's selling. So I'm going to talk about courses in a second, but I want to just finish that example since I talked about him. Like when he switched over to 75% YouTube ad, that cracked the code, got him his first 100K month, right?
Right. So he sold like 10K packages kind of thing.
And it's that kind of thing. But on courses, so we have a lot of people like that, a lot of success. That's also kind of, in the range that we're at, because we're hands-on, training, working with people. So it's not just a course.
Right.
For courses though, and courses are incredibly valuable, by the way, don't get me wrong. Like when I'm talking about YouTube ads though, I do I think that, you know, hands-on, like I love that approach that we provide. But with courses, we work with a lot of course creators. Actually, one of my, you know, earlier incredible success stories, and still one of the, you know, one of the things I'm super proud of is the work that we did with Bo, who does, you know, he does like Amazon. He helps people, you know, basically sell on Amazon wholesale. Absolutely incredible guy. Like, you know, also a young guy like me too. Just crushes it. And he was on Facebook before. He was doing like the, you know, the 20, 25K, like kind of, you know, months and things like that. He was, you know, definitely successful. He had a small YouTube channel, but he's mostly doing Facebook ads. We get him on YouTube ads, and the first month, over $120,000.
Wow. And this is course
And that was
sales.
a December. That was a December.
That's great. So was it course sales?
Yeah. So at that time he was at 2K. We did bring it down to $997 to mass market.
Yeah.
To mass market it. And I think he took a couple like hands-on stuff out. So it was just like, but basically we did that, and the ROASs initially on that campaign, and obviously with scale, obviously the ROAS goes down a little bit, but the overall profits go up. But the ROAS initially on the campaign with YouTube ads, because I remember the quote we had, because we were working with like one of his marketing guys, obviously with him as well, but one of his marketing guys, James, 17x ROAS on YouTube for those first couple months.
Return on ad spend. Okay.
Yeah. So we had done when he hit 500K, we had only done $44,000 worth of ad spend.
That's where you want to be. Because this is what's so funny, because the timing of this is so serendipitous. Mm-hmm. Because I am one of those people. I tried Facebook ads for my online courses, particularly my LinkedIn online course, for years. And I used about 4 different agencies. I tried it myself. I spent, 5 figures and just never got it going. And I'm like, but at the same time, it's hard to scale myself. Correct. So I'm doing things where I'm, podcast guests and, organic things and email lists and LinkedIn messaging. I have all my own systems, but I'm like, I'm sick of seeing these people with paid traffic just killing it. I'm like, what is going on? So I'm like, but I don't want to go back to Facebook because it never worked. And people, and then everyone's like, well, it could be this, it could be that. I'm like, there's got to be a better option. And LinkedIn ads, I'm like, forget it. They're like $30 per click. Like you don't even get guaranteed. So YouTube, this is really interesting because video is such a high trust mechanism. So if people watch you and look you in the eye and it's authentic, they're already bonding with you at a much deeper level, right? So I love that idea. Everyone's on YouTube, even older generations as well. So there's a lot here, a lot of opportunity. And I think, it makes a lot of sense. And I think that's what's exciting to people like me that have been burned on it on other platforms, or like Joel Irwin is another guy that will tell you, like, Facebook ads, it just keeps getting more and more expensive, right? And at some point, it's not going to be worth paying X dollars to get a webinar sign up or X dollars to get an application when you can get on YouTube for half as much or whatever. That's what's exciting. So before we wrap up, what any parting thoughts? We didn't touch on topics, best advice if you're a coach or consultant, a course creator wanting to get involved with YouTube ads, what would you tell them to do? What would be next steps?
Yeah. So we actually have some trainings that obviously I want to, give, that I put together, actually, not just one, but actually I call it like, our gift page. So we have a variety of gifts just for your listeners. And what I found, honestly, is with YouTube ads, the best thing to do is to remember that you're being natural. You're actually reaching people who are paying attention. You're only paying for the people that pay attention, right? That 30 seconds. And so when you get in front of people, think about it for yourself, right, Nemo? Like, let's say people are looking up LinkedIn, like how to scale on LinkedIn, how to get more LinkedIn connections, whatever it happens to be. Now they're seeing you, and you also know that they're of a certain income bracket, that they can afford the course. You also know that they are, a business owner, or they're a consultant, or whatever it is, like that other angle, right? They've been on certain competitor websites before, like Sam Ovens or whatever it is. You take all of that together, now you're reaching people. It's less of a guessing game. One of the reasons Facebook's really hard to scale is you're relying on the algorithm because there's no timing built in. So the problem is you could appear at 1 a.m. in the morning, right, with somebody, and they're not going to attend a webinar. It's all in the algorithm. When you scale up a Facebook ad, you're basically praying that it'll work. On YouTube, it's like buying TV inventory, but actually with all the targeting built in. Because
Yeah.
if you know, like in the old days, if you knew a TV channel worked, you could buy more of that channel and scale up, and you could see linear growth on your ad campaigns. You could do that on YouTube.
I want to interrupt you. Sorry, as we finish up, but I just had this thought on mindset too. Because my wife, we were talking about it, and she's like, the other thing with Facebook, and she goes, especially you're selling LinkedIn and B2B market. Like, she's like, who in our demographics is going on to Facebook looking for business help? Right? Like, I know everyone's advertising on there and the hustle, but she's like, but I think of YouTube, it's like the world's largest how-to.
Exactly.
Whenever I need to figure something out for work, software, how to, hammer a nail into the wall, how to fix my Ring doorbell, how to find leads on whatever, what shows up at the top is YouTube videos. And so now all of a sudden I use it for entertainment, but I'm also using it to learn. So I like the mindset too with your prospects of, targeting people that are using the learning or the how-to features of YouTube. That's going to make a lot of sense, isn't it?
Exactly. And we didn't even get into this area because there's so much I could talk about. I could talk all day too.
Yeah.
But we didn't even get into the concept that I have called the learner's mindset. It's exactly, I don't even need to explain it. It's exactly what you said. People are going to YouTube to learn. And if you reach somebody when they're receptive, people are walled off the rest of the time. And I know, like, if you ask the listener, and obviously also yourself, Nemo, as well, and for myself, when I'm on Facebook, I'm walled off. There's so much marketing on Facebook, and everybody, even organic posts, it's all marketing, right? And that's okay, and it works to a degree. But on YouTube, people are actually they're put their walls down because they're looking to learn, right? Somebody's watching a Tony Robbins motivational video. If they have their walls up, it's not going to work. So they know they need to bring their walls down. So if you're now targeting them, right? Same thing. If they're looking how to market on LinkedIn, if they're watching a video on that, you hit them, their walls are down because they're looking to learn.
Yeah, and they're looking for ancillary parallel learning.
Exactly.
So if you were researching how to use Sales Navigator, and I said, hey, if you're using Sales Navigator on LinkedIn, here's some methods and scripts you can use to engage. Like, oh, okay. I love this stuff. So Aleric Heck, how can people find you online? How can they find your gifts? How can they take a deeper dive and give you all their money? Tell us.
Absolutely. So I'll talk about the gift in a second, but obviously to find me, I think a really good resource that I have is we have a free Facebook group on YouTube Ads for Entrepreneurs. So if you look up YouTube Ads for Entrepreneurs, you could also look up my name, Aleric Heck, and you'll find that there on Facebook. So that's just a community that we have. That's a good spot to not miss things. But at the same time, if you have heard enough, right, we'll talk about the gifts in a second, but if you're like, I need to talk to Aleric, I need to talk with his team. Actually, most likely will be an advisor because we've been growing. Our goal is to help as many people as possible. But within the program, that lets me, actually touch people's ads. So like I'm actually going on these calls and logging into people's ads accounts because I love that. That's what I live for. And but to be able to talk with one of our advisors, you can go to Ad Outreach. That's ADOUTREACH.com. So adoutreach.com/apply. And you can schedule a time to speak with our team. Again, it's like a 45-minute call, but it's to dive in to see, how YouTube ads will work with your business, if it's a good fit. Especially, coaches, consultants, course creators, like that's our bread and butter. But I want to leave you guys with a gift, right? Because that's what I promised. And I really want to deliver value. That's what we've been talking about in this whole thing. And so if you go to adoutreach.com, ADOUTREACH.com/gift, I put a little video on that page, just kind of going over it. And we have a link to our webinar. So you can sign up. Again, this is an hour-long webinar that actually goes deep into this. It talks about all the concepts of YouTube ads, breaks down how it works. Again, it's highly rated because we provide value. The next thing is we have an exclusive training that I don't always reveal, YouTube ads for high-ticket sales. This is really relevant for you guys. Right? We've cracked the code, YouTube ads for high ticket sales, a 22-minute no fluff training, how that works. And then we also have a link to the Facebook group, some case studies, and a link to book a call. So adoutreach.com/gift, and you guys can get some value there.
Man, amazing, amazing job. Like this has been one of the most, if I would have been, this is something I don't often say or admit on podcasts, but like I'm going to rewatch and re-listen to all that and like take a bunch of notes.
Yeah.
Like incredible value. Aleric, thank you so much. I will put all the links in with wherever the video is in the podcast. Incredible advice, and love your energy, love your hustle, love your story, and love too that you get it. You bring and demonstrate a lot of value instead of just claiming it. So thanks again for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on, Nemo. This is a lot of fun.